Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to another installment of Show to V with Mike G, the show of life, the show of Ozfest, the show of studying criminal justice, stenography, Texas Roadhouse, but mostly about the Boulevardier Group in San Antonio, Texas. Today's guest, Stephan Mendez, is the vice president of the USBG in San Antonio. He's the beverage director of the Boulevardier Group in San Antonio with such great locations like the Brooklynite and The Last Word. He's a good dude, and we talk about a lot of different things, kind of really his journey here in this industry and how he started off peddling Budweisers and Starfucker shots and turned into a successful beverage director, how the industry always pulls you back in, so to speak. So I hope you guys enjoy this chat with Stephan Mendez.
Moved back when I was 7.
Oh, you moved back, okay.
Born in here, lived here for a couple years, and I'm too young to remember, and then split time between parents in San Antonio and Austin.
Yeah.
And then probably around, I want to say 12 or so, moved up to Boston.
Oh, really? So you said your dad got a job out there, is that right?
Yeah, he was running a place called Great Woods Amphitheater right outside of Boston.
What kind of spot was that? Like music
concert
venue? Were you one of those kids that I always envied when I was growing up that got tickets to stuff, just like no matter what? I'm like, I don't really feel like going to see Foghorn tonight or whatever.
Yeah, kind of, but it was stuff that I probably passed a lot of stuff up that I didn't really know was as awesome as it was.
Yeah. Did you think of anything that...
Like, I remember my dad wouldn't let me go to Ozfest.
Oh, shit, really?
Yeah, and it was actually good because they rioted. I remember they burned the fence down.
That was all right, good work, Dad. That was actually a pretty
that was a smart move on his part.
Because that's been around forever now. Like, what year are we talking, do you think?
Oh, God, it's supposed to have been 98, 99.
Because that was like one of the first years that it started.
Yeah. And they went crazy.
Yeah. So do you have any siblings?
I do. I'm the oldest of five.
I
have a younger brother who lives in Houston now, about to start law school.
Yeah.
He is 27, 28. I should probably know that.
Yeah.
Sure.
I don't know how old my brother is. I think he's 4 years younger.
Yeah.
But he looks older than me, so I just say that I'm younger anyway.
I've got two younger sisters they're twins, and they're about 22, 23.
Are they still living in San Antonio, or are they in...
They're in San Antonio.
Yeah, okay.
Or one of them's in Corpus, going to Corpus A&M.
Oh, cool. So studying oceanography. I know that's a big thing out there.
I don't even know what she's studying.
I don't know how old she is. I don't know if she's studying.
I know she's alive.
God, Mike, why are you asking me all these questions? These points of protocol. So, but it's funny because there's always this common thread with people in this industry, which we'll talk about your rise to success as the beverage director here at the Boulevardier Group in San Antonio. But your dad's a chef. What did your mom do? Was she ever in the industry as well?
No, she's been. Well, I know she waited tables much younger in her days before I was ever around.
Right.
But she's been a court reporter pretty much since I was born.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
How is that as mysterious and intriguing as it sounds? Or is it more...
think it is.
Yeah.
I think to some people it's not. But when we were in middle school and we had career day where your parents would come out.
Yeah.
I was always really stoked for my mom to come out because I thought it was really cool.
Yeah. What is so? Is it the stenography thing, or is it
stenographer? Exactly.
Okay.
So she would come out and have myself or somebody else read a book while she would type the entire thing up the whole time.
Have you seen? All right, so you gotta explain something to me. I've never seen what I think is a shorthand typewriter. Is that what they're called that they use in court?
I don't know what they're called now because I know they change it. I've seen a few of my mom's progress through the 30 years.
Is it like a single key equals a bunch of words, or how do they?
A combination of keys will be a common phrase.
Oh, okay.
In law, I know certain keys are certain words.
Yeah.
But you can tell these three keys would be this interesting sentence.
Interesting. See, that's amazing.
And I don't think it's shorthand too, so they don't type everything word for word.
Right.
It's you'll have to go back and transcribe.
She would have made a great waitress, right?
Yeah, exactly. She'll remember everything.
Pancakes. What does this mean?
She remembers everything I ever said because she brings it up all the time.
Oh, you gotta love that. That's good. Well, so the parents. So, what's up? Oh, so your parent. I mean, this is a common story too. So either people move for love, They moved because of divorce. And my mom moved kind of a mix of the two, I think, and we ended up in Detroit at some point. But so I get that whole thing. But so like as you're coming into your own, I imagine Boston is the place where you're kind of maybe getting more into music, understanding what kind of things you want to do with your life? Or is it much later than that?
It was a little bit of both, I think. Because, I mean, by the time I moved back, I was like 16, 17 when we came back from Boston. And I was going back and forth through like summers and winters up with my dad and stuff.
Yeah. Did he get remarried?
He did.
Yeah. Okay.
So we were doing that, but I don't think I really knew what I wanted to do until I was 21.
That's
First
pretty
time
good.
I stepped behind a bar, that's when I knew what I wanted to do.
Yeah. Were your parents, or was your dad thinking like, was he saying like, I've been in this industry, I love to cook? Sometimes that means dad's telling you do not fucking touch the industry, or was he saying, no, come on.
No, he didn't want me to do this at all.
Oh, really?
He didn't want me or my brother to do it. It's funny because Austin, actually, my younger brother, Austin, he was in the industry for a little bit. He was like waiting tables. I think he might have bartended for a little bit. But like growing up, he was like, nope, never doing it. Go to school, get a degree. Don't fucking spend 90
like
hours a week
becomes
at
like
a
cautionary tale. And that's so strange because you would think like, it seems like he was successful at it. Why would he not want you guys to do it?
Yeah, because it's probably so much easier to get a degree and have a nice office job somewhere.
Yeah.
Rather than spending, 80, 90 hours a week.
But and what's all the excitement
everyone's
in that?
Crazy bar stories that they have now.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. If I had kids, I would tell them not to do it.
Well,
either.
That makes sense too. Yeah. I mean, you're only 30, you still got a good 15 years to have kids.
I didn't like. My sisters have tried to get jobs for them doing like waiting tables or hosting. I'm like, nope, not going in the industry.
Really?
Yeah.
So you're protective of them too, where you're like, you guys are not doing this.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Really? But it's okay that your brother's doing it. But you said he just did it for a little bit.
Yeah, it's a little sexist, but...
No, I'm not saying... I mean, I don't have a sister. And my brother's very masculine, so I never got to play the older brother card. Yeah. Like, protect him from things. No, fuck. If he wants to go work in a restaurant, he can be a dishwasher.
Yeah, I mean, like, my younger brother, like, he's going to take care of himself. I'm not worried about that. But I know how servers and hostess can get treated at restaurants, and I don't want my sisters subjected to that.
That's not sexism on your part. That really is an implicit piece of the industry. I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's another kind of interesting thing to talk about with men and women, is that some women perceive it as incredibly blatant, the kind of sexism and the discrimination and stuff. But you've seen it as well, then, it sounds like. Oh
yeah, I mean it's unfortunately a part of this thing.
Yeah.
Not that I try and buy into it or use it as an excuse.
No, sure.
But it's just something that the entire industry needs to work on.
Yeah.
And I think like slowly it's becoming more of an awareness thing, like events like Speed Rack,
right,
which are awesome, that I always help out as much as I can.
It's crazy because if you think about the people running the scenes, it's all women. I love that. That's absolutely the best part. It's kind of like you don't realize that the narrative and the general consciousness of this industry, pretty, for the most part, it's like kind of driven by, you talk about like Lindsey Johnson, for example, right? And they have their hands in those things. So I think that's a great piece as we start to understand what this industry is. Mm-hmm. Because everything's new. You talk about the Brooklynite, just for example. I mean, you guys just celebrated the 3rd anniversary?
Yeah.
That's not a lot. And that was kind of a mecca of San Antonio cocktail culture. Most cultures don't evolve that much in 3 years. But think about how different it is.
I think San Antonio kind of rose up on a bullet.
Totally.
I mean, the last 5 years, I think, we've gone from 2 or 3 awesome spots to 15 to 20 awesome spots.
It's incredible, right? And in a way, when I was living in Houston, it was one of the things that was missing. So everything cool happened after I left, which is a little bit why I resent Houston now. But it was so big, much like San Antonio, there wasn't this kind of like arterial area, really, because Houston's so sprawled out. But it seems like San Antonio now has this heart of which people are kind of drawn to. You've got lots of great spots. I mean, obviously, Last Word and Brooklynite, to name 2. Like, those spots are pretty central. Is that right? Is that the right way?
It's pretty much like, central downtown.
Yeah. And so you guys are kind of building this metropolitan of culture, and drinks are always at the epicenter of culture, I think.
We're trying to.
Right? Well, so thinking about the college thing, were you ever humoring that idea? Were you like, I'll do it for a little bit. We'll see what happens.
I mean, I don't think I really had a choice. I think my parents would have kicked my ass if I didn't at least go.
At least try?
Yeah. So, I mean, I did it for 2.5 years.
Where'd you go?
UTSA.
Oh, okay.
Here in San Antonio.
Did you, for all intents and purposes, did you find a central point of focus and study there?
I did criminal justice. That's kind of like when I was in high school and starting to go towards college. That was something I wanted to do. Like my mom's court reporter.
Yeah.
And when she remarried, my stepdad is a lawyer.
Oh, okay.
So
what kind of area of law do you know?
Criminal defense.
Perfect. Yeah.
And before that, he was actually an assistant district attorney.
No shit.
So he did
in
both
San Antonio?
sides. Yeah.
Really? So that seems like there's a lot of shows about that on right now. Like there's lots of criminal procedure shows and things.
Yeah, and it's really funny that when I was a kid watching it with them because they would always call out all the bullshit on the shows. Like that would never happen.
Yeah. Like my stepbrother is a cop. And so we often will talk about that stuff, and we'll watch movies like, how many times did that guy reload his clip? Like that kind of stuff. It's virtually impossible that this situation would have went down like that. But if it ruins Die Hard for me, I just block it out. As long as Die Hard is preserved, one of the most important.
No one's gonna touch that one.
I hope not. I really hope not. So 2.5 years UTSA. What was the point where you're like, not working for me?
It was probably right around the time I started bartending, really.
Yeah.
Because I was doing, while I was at UTSA, I'd started off doing some financial work with a bank down there, security service.
Yeah.
Worked there for a little bit, and then went over to USAA, doing auto insurance, homeowners insurance.
Such a huge labor force in San Antonio, right?
Just like
massive.
Pretty sure the biggest one that's in San Antonio.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Maybe Rackspace.
Right.
But those are the two biggest. So I was doing that, and then randomly, by chance, a friend was working at a bar, had a bartender quit on him on a Friday night that I was there.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, dude, I need help. Just hop back here and do whatever you can.
Just like, I don't know, you're a banker? Fine. Just hop back. It didn't matter, right?
Just hands I can pick stuff up and move things.
Yeah.
So I started doing that, and I actually liked it, even though he kept yelling at me because I was doing everything wrong. And I had to ask him how to make
Why would you like that? What was it about
drinks. I think it was just the interaction.
Yeah.
Because I'd been working at a cubicle or behind a desk for years.
The thing that your parent or like your dad's like, no, do this thing.
Yeah.
But it's genetic. It almost feels like the need to be hospitable.
Kind of. Yeah. So yeah, I really liked it, and I think I probably put in my notice at my job maybe a week after that.
That's it.
Because I started going back and like helping out, and I was like, this is something I kind of want to see how it goes. And they actually didn't have a lot of shifts for me at the time.
Yeah.
So
is that place still open, by the way?
I think so.
Yeah.
I haven't been in 4 years.
Is it an influential spot in San Antonio, or
no, not at all.
Grind your teeth in ice.
I don't even want to say the name of the place. It's just a little dive bar. It was nothing special, but I loved it.
Yeah. Influential
in my life.
Yeah. Perfect chapter to kind of like make things begin. So you started working there. Would we call it full time?
No, it was like just helping out whenever I could.
Yeah.
They didn't have shifts for me there, and I couldn't really find another bartending spot because at that point I still didn't know what I was doing at all.
Yeah.
So I got like a serving position at Texas Roadhouse.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Solid little restaurant.
Damn peanuts everywhere, right?
Yeah.
I hate that shit. I slip all the time.
You don't have to clean them up every night. That's the worst part.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
I'm very naive. I'm just concerned about me and the damn peanut oil like all over the place. Seems like their liability insurance would be insane at that point.
Well, they actually, I don't know the exact science behind it, but they'll use the peanuts to like cover up spills. Because it'll absorb more stuff than actually like sweeping up than the hardwood.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
You'll slip more on that than you would just on the peanuts.
Like when kids would throw up in shop class and do sawdust?
Yeah,
it's like the same thing, right? Okay, that makes sense. All right, so I'm going to give them a little more credit for the undercooked steaks I've had every time I've been in there. But so you're now getting to interact with people more on a regular basis. Are you feeling it? Is it like kind of bubbling up?
It was great. I loved it. Served there for a good year and a half or so before I finally got a bartending spot at like a North Side club.
Yeah.
Like a speed.
Total transactional.
Bud Light, Starfuckers, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Bottle service.
And you still liked it, even after that.
I love that stuff. I still love that stuff. If I could do the beverage director thing and then work at a club 1 day a week, I would love it.
Would you have a funny name? That would be my thing. I would want to have
a funny name.
Really? I would just like want to have something like, I don't know, Ricky Porcardo or something stupid, right? And then I would just show up at a bar and do transactional pouring once a week. That'd be nice.
Also, I never gave my real name when people asked at those places.
Oh, really?
Because then you're going to have them yelling your name all night. And like, if you give them a fake name, you're not going to look when they yell it at you.
Would they think that you're being rude because you're not looking at them when they're yelling your name?
I don't know. Never asked them. We're too busy.
Yeah. So it's good. So what was that conversation like when you kind of had to break it to the folks like, UTSA is not going to be the thing?
I didn't really tell them for like a year.
Oh, shit. Are you kidding me?
I just didn't say that I was going to school.
Yeah, no, that's fine, right?
Yeah. It wasn't a lie. Just omitting the truth.
Not real forthcoming.
Yeah.
And you would imagine that them being so rooted in law that they might have asked particular prying questions.
Like something you can't back away from.
Yeah. But it never happened.
It was probably about a year.
Yeah.
They probably knew. Yeah. I think.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So the interest that it kind of started to lean more toward, because there is that obviously the interaction piece when you're talking to people, but did the cocktail thing, did that become more interesting than food?
That became like a hobby for me. It was just because all the bars I was working at, there weren't cocktail bars at all.
Which year are we talking now? When you kind of was coming up?
It's like 2009, 2010.
Okay, which is still pretty. If you again think about it, right? That was only like this is 5-6 years ago. It's not a really long time.
Not at all. And I was like a few blogs that I was reading. I don't even remember how I got into it. I think at some place I was at, probably in Austin. Probably came here to visit some friends and had like a real old fashioned.
Right.
I was like, holy shit, this is really good.
It's like I'm trying to think, where would
and then I think I tried to order a couple of them in San Antonio and got the worst old fashions ever.
It's more like a cherry slushy.
Yeah, but I mean, you got to know where to order an old fashioned at.
Yeah, and it's weird. I mean, to think now you could probably go into any place and get it like at least a decent old fashioned.
I think so. Probably 8 out of 10 times.
Yeah, not bad, right? So what do you think was that first moment where, did you start seeing it as a career at that point? Like that there's actually there's a living to be made?
Not at all.
No.
I was like, I'll do this for like 5-10 years, and then I'm going to have to figure out a real job.
So you're about 7 years in. So what are you going to shift, do the switcheroo in 3 years?
I'm all in already.
Yeah?
I can't get out now.
Can't get out? They just pulled you in.
They'll pull me back in.
They'll Pacino your ass. Totally. Well, that's a couple of things, and so we'll talk about the Boulevardier Group here in a second, but I think it's interesting. So you've been in this industry, let's call it like 7-8 years now. You've obviously rose to the higher ranks as a beverage director. Well, when did you meet Jared and Jarrell and all those guys?
The first time I met Jared,
Magic the Gathering tournament?
Was the first time I ever went to Esquire Tavern. I hate that game.
I fucking hate it too, but
I can't give it too much shit though, because I used to play when I was a kid, and now I think it's really dumb. Yeah. Me and my little brother, we used to have like decks on decks of Magic the Gathering cards.
Well, how is that a thing?
I don't know. Just nerds.
I didn't get it. I was collecting baseball cards. I don't watch sports now, but something about collecting things. It's very strange. So that was where you met Jared playing Magic the Gathering.
It was the first time I met him was at Esquire Tavern. And it was the founder of Tales of the Cocktail. We're doing like a tour of Texas thing.
Yeah.
And they stopped at Esquire and did like a Ramos Gin Fizz shaker line.
Oh, cool.
With some bartenders from all over Texas, like Houston, Dallas, Austin came down. And I had heard about it because I was like just following blogs online, and it popped up.
What blogs were you looking at that point? Tipsy Texan? Was David?
Tipsy Texan was probably where I read it at.
Yeah.
Tipsy Texan was one of them, and my dad actually introduced me to Tipsy Texan.
What the fuck?
Because he knew that I had like started bartending, was kind of getting into nerdy stuff like that. Yeah. And he was like, "Hey, you need to read this blog." And I like looked it up and I started reading it.
I don't know, but that's like kind of him. What's the word? Enabling you, if you will.
A little bit. I think he already knew that. Like,
okay, he's like, all right, well, my advice didn't.
I had already started. I wasn't gonna get away from it.
But then that's glad that he knew, because the East Coast obviously kind of caught wind of that cocktail thing first. But so you have this Ramos Gin Fizz line. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that was the first time I had met him. Talked to him briefly. I mean, he was busy doing his thing.
Yeah.
David Allen actually talked about Tales for a little bit too. That was the first time I had met David or heard him talk, and that was it at the time. And I probably didn't really talk to him again for another 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
He came to a bar that I was working at, and that's
Where
when
were
we
you?
first at 1919.
Oh yeah, okay. The longest bar one of the longest bars I've ever been to.
It's long. Esquire's still longer.
Is it really?
I'm pretty sure Esquire's still the longest wooden bar in Texas. I think
that's what people tell me. Either way, it's just
like 110 feet.
Exhausting.
That's great.
No, I'm just kidding. I love it. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. So you came in, and what was that kind of interaction like?
I don't remember what drink I gave him, because I knew who he was. It was someone who I had been kind of looking up to him and following him on whatever post he had made or whatever. And I had some drink with, it was like tequila, probably at the time, 2012, Stgermain, I'm sure was in it.
Well, he's always drinking tequila anyway.
And then some kind of like Fernet foam that I had thought it was real cool shit because I'd made it.
Right.
And I was like, hey man, like I want you to try this. And he tried it and he told me he liked it. And then like a week later, probably got a call from one of his bartenders that I used to know from another bar that was offering me a position to go bartend at Esquire. Yeah.
At Esquire. Oh, cool.
But I was really happy at the bar that I was at because I'd been part of like the opening team. and I really liked my boss, so I didn't go. And I was like, thank you, but like I want to stay here.
Right.
This is a real cool project we're working on. And then over the course of the next 3 years, he probably offered me a job like 10 times.
He wanted why did he seek you out? And I just want to play dumb here for a second. Why you? Stephan?
I don't know. I'd like to say it's because I was really good at what I was doing.
Is it the tattoos?
Maybe. At the time, I think I only had 1 or 2 tattoos.
Oh, really?
Probably.
I mean, that's the reason I hired Mark. No, I'm just kidding. He's a good friend of mine. But, he knew, right? He must have known. Because the thing is, would you agree that the people that really make the biggest impact in this industry and have the most prolific careers are the ones that know talent?
Oh, yeah.
Those are the people that can prove.
You got to be able
talent.
to spot it out.
Totally.
Yeah.
So he saw something in you. Would you consider him kind of, even though he's not that, well, he's like six-ish years older than you, but like, would you consider him a mentor of sorts?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though he still
I kind of wish I would have taken that other job because I probably would have learned a lot more a little faster.
Yeah.
Because everything that I was learning, I wasn't learning from him. I was pretty much learning on my own.
Gotcha. So what was the first? So you didn't take the job. What was the first job that you actually started working with, Jarrett?
It was at Last Word.
Oh, okay.
For Boulevardier.
Wow. And so was that the capacity in which he hired you on as the beverage director, or just kind of?
No, there wasn't a beverage director when I joined the company. We basically, it was a chance happening. I was leaving the job that I was at, and I basically just gave Jarrett a call.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, man, you need a bartender? Like, I'm free agent right now.
Did he turn his back on you yet? Like, if I got rejected that many times,
no,
at some point it's like, shame on me. let him back in.
I think he was doing it to like keep me in his pocket, like to always know that I could make that jump whenever I wanted to.
Oh, that's pretty amazing.
I think it was a smart. He played the long con.
Yeah, he's good at cons, just in general, long cons especially. So, did you think that from that point, when you kind of started out, from when Jarrett's like, "Hey, come work at The Last Word," were you still kind of navigating and seeing like, "Oh, maybe I'll do this," or were you in at that point too?
No, I was pretty much in.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I love everyone that has worked with that company. Even the ones who aren't there anymore are still good friends of mine that I will go see them at their bars.
Yeah.
Or hang out with them whenever. So I knew that company was something I wanted to be a part of.
Yeah.
And once he gave me pretty much the freedom to do what I wanted to do, I don't think he's ever really told me no to anything I've
Yeah,
proposed.
I don't think he says no to a lot of stuff.
No.
He's very open like that, which is interesting. So at what point is he saying, all right, well, here are the keys and the creative freedom to be the beverage director of, I guess is it 5 places now or 4 places? I can't remember.
Five,
right?
Now, yeah. I actually am the one that brought it up. We had one of our other bars, the manager was leaving and was kind of making a hole in the schedule for everyone.
Yeah.
And I kind of saw it as an opportunity to promote myself.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, we can have me do a few shifts here, a few shifts there, a few shifts there. I can kind of help manage all of them and start working on the menus for everyone.
So you were playing the long con too.
A little bit.
That's good. You got to play a long con with a long con.
All the pieces fell together at the perfect time.
Yeah. So how many? You said you're 5 spots strong now. I know of 3 of them that I can recite pretty quickly, but
so we got Brooklynite was the baby.
Mm-hmm.
That's the oldest, and then there was Stay Golden Social House.
Right.
And then Last Word, Old Main Association,
right.
which is our first like full kitchen concept.
Mm-hmm.
And then most recently Rumble over on the Strip.
When did that kind of take form?
That opened March.
Shit, so that's pretty good. It's actually after I talked to Jarrett for this specific project. What is the concept there at Rumble?
Rumble is have you spent time down in SA on the St. Mary's Strip?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so it's that area. It's more of like the younger 21 to 25. I hate saying the word hipster, but that kind of fucking nails it.
If that means, what are we then? I've got like these nice shoes.
They're calling
like
us the
tight
same
jeans.
thing.
Yeah,
everyone's a goddamn hipster.
Everybody's a nerd. Yeah. Everybody's a hipster because they liked one episode of Girls or something, right? Like, oh, well, how profound, right? But that's kind of the thing. Is it more about quantity, or is it still real high quality cocktails?
There's not much of an emphasis on cocktails, just because right now that clientele doesn't really demand.
It's not what they want, right?
We have the back bar to make pretty much whatever you want.
Yeah.
But it's Tall Boy Lone Stars.
Got it.
Vodka sodas. We have some really cool frozen drinks there, and those are probably the bigger sellers.
That's killer. Well, it's all pre. That's going to be a bigger thing, I think. The return to a daiquiri that doesn't taste shitty but is frozen.
Yeah.
Right. That's an inarticulate way to say it, but that's in a way, that's a way to do it.
It's going to look great on a sign somewhere.
See? I hope so. They're not neon signs at Rumble?
There's not yet.
Good. Oh.
There'll be a Rumble neon sign.
Yeah. Wait, are you telling me that's in the works?
It is in the works.
Oh, that's amazing.
Coming soon.
See? It's harkening back to the days of Miller Lite glowing signs in the 80s. That was a fucking wonderful time. But it's cool because as the beverage director, think of it as like, so you run this label and you have all these different genres of bands. Because that's the thing that I think is really interesting about the concepts is that, to me at least, no two seem that alike. There's maybe a thread of quality through all of them, but for the most part, it's like, all right, this is the punk record, this is volume bar, this is a different kind of people we're trying to appeal to. Is that intentional, or you guys just kind of gravitate toward what's available?
A little bit of both. I mean, I think it's a smart business plan to not do the exact same concept.
Diversification, right?
And also each area is going to have their own market for people.
Yeah.
Like if the place doesn't want $15 cocktails, don't try and shove it down their throats.
Yeah, absolutely.
If they want, a half that price, something still pretty solid, then let's give it to them.
Yeah.
That's what's going to get people in there.
You being, let's call it, now, I know the beverage director is a different capacity than potentially an old owner, but I'm sure you probably have equity or something like that, which we're going to talk about. But there's got to be one that gives you a real pain in the ass now and again. Do you have that spot that's a little bit more troublesome than the others? Not because it's less or more successful, but just for you particularly?
Not yet.
Not yet.
I mean, Last Word's a little bit of a beast.
Yeah. Why? Is it just location? Or?
Yeah. Downtown San Antonio, there's not a ton of residential buildings.
Mm-hmm.
So most of our volume's coming from, conventions that are coming through town.
Gotcha, yeah.
Shows at the Majestic Theaters. Right now, tourism's pretty slow for the hot summer months.
Oh, yeah.
So it's waves, and you just got to adapt to it.
Yeah.
You're going to have your really busy week, SACC, when that comes through.
That's huge.
Zombie mode.
Yeah, underwater the whole time.
Yeah.
Right?
But then you have, a week where there's nothing in town. So you just get to kind of chill.
Which is kind of, and that's the thing, if you think of it as a stock portfolio, which I know shit about really, but diversification is really good because the stuff that's kind of doing better over here covers the low months over here, and that, in fact, having those concepts all kind of interweave in different ways, it makes it
exactly, yeah.
How long have you been in the position now?
A little over a year.
Yeah, that's killer.
I started with the company April of last year, and it was probably 3 months after that.
Yeah.
So somewhere around
pretty
July.
quick then.
Trying to.
So the inevitable jump is that you will want to own your own spot. Do you feel that you're going to need to sow those oats at some point and kind of say, Jared, I got to do my own thing?
Yeah, I would like to hopefully do something with him.
Yeah.
But,
which I imagine would be another concept you guys would work on. But
yeah. That's pretty much the next step. I don't think there's anything after that. I don't want to do anything else.
Really?
Bartending is what I want to do. Ownership is the only other promotion right now.
Yeah.
But I've seen how much goes into starting a bar.
Right.
And I'm not ready to quite do that yet.
Not yet. Well, you're 30. You still get to fuck up a little bit.
Oh, exactly. I got 5 years and then
easy.
I think.
Because a 37-year-old fucking up traumatically versus a 27-year-old, you get so much more leniency as a 27-year-old. Well, he is a dipshit.
Yeah.
Right? He hasn't even really learned how to do something.
Exactly.
So you imagine, and I think this is a decision that people have to kind of make too as they become business owners and older. Do you want to start a family and all that stuff? What people would consider the straight and narrow path for middle America?
Yeah, eventually.
Yeah.
Once I have a successful bar, I think.
We'll
do that first. The bar is going to be baby one.
Yeah.
And then start a real baby after the bar's set up.
It's very, very tough. So a couple other things, because I know you're heading back to San Antonio. So one, and it's an interesting place to be behind the bar because you are, in a sense, the center of attention. You get people that are inebriated, they're being cathartic, and it's very difficult to, allay the opposite sex as they make passes at you all the time behind the bar, which is the case. So you're dating somebody in the industry, I presume.
Mm-hmm.
How difficult is that? Just being always the subject of attention, and whether your girlfriend is attention of men or you and women, all of that.
How difficult is it dating someone else in the industry?
Yeah.
I think it's pretty easy as opposed to dating someone who's not in the industry.
Just because of scheduling?
Yeah, and they don't really understand like the bartender life.
Yeah. But and correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like a lot of people, at least the way they advertise the bartender life, is loose and fast and inebriated. There's not like a lot of central sitting down and watching Netflix with the person you love kind of thing.
I think it's fast and loose for the first 3 years you're doing it.
Yeah.
And then after that, you learn that that's a horrible life choice. And that your body
That's tattoo
hurts.
number 1, right?
Yeah. And your body just starts to hurt after a while.
Yeah.
I mean, now I don't even really get a chance to go out that much.
Yeah.
If we go out, we'll go out probably early and go home before 1.
Interesting.
If that.
So I thought, the mystique of Stephan is that you're like, like a playboy, you're out there, you're drinking with kings and all of that.
5 years ago, Stephan.
So I think the reputation carries. But no, I'm just kidding. I haven't heard anything particular. But it is. You find it's a difficult balance to strike, though, between trying to be healthy, trying to be a good partner, and then having to work in this industry, which is incredibly difficult on your body.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much a whole nother job.
Yeah.
To balance all of those things together. I think a lot of people get into why I got into bartending, I thought it was just going to be fun.
Yeah.
And just money, power, and chicks.
Totally.
And
Entourage, the movie today.
And then 3 years into it, you realize that none of it's true. And you have your fun times, but if you really get into it and you're like, shit, this is my career, I need to start making better choices and represent myself better, then you start to plan ahead a little bit more.
And it seems like that what I would consider maturity, hopefully that's not a ding on you, I think it's a good thing as you grow up and get more mature, more career focused. Is that part of the reason that maybe you wanted to be at the helm as a VP for USBG? That makes some sense, right? Like not a figurehead, but in a good way. Like to kind of try to coalesce people, organize them, tell them to stop fucking around.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to be known as that guy who always blacks out and makes the dumbest choices.
Yeah.
Like you're not going to get very many offers for anything doing that stuff.
Yeah.
You want to be the guy that's making good moves and seen as making good moves.
Do you want to be, you want to be someone in kind of like a mentorship capacity? Is that fair?
A little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, for my employees, absolutely. For everybody else, I'll help anyone out that asks. I'll offer advice to people. But I'm not trying to tell everyone what they should be doing.
Yeah. No moral high ground. You're not a straight edge dude pounding into people's
I've been the guy that's blacked out before. I can't talk too much shit about him.
It's true. Hypocrisy at large is still hypocrisy. All right, so we're going to talk about 2 more things, and I'll let you guys go. But I think, thanks for joining me in this warehouse in South Austin as you bid farewell on your way to San Antonio.
Still better than driving.
So true. And there's a liquor cabinet behind you. I don't know if you noticed this, but there's just
you swiped the 2 bottles I already have in my pocket.
God damn, I should have taken that sip of water. I knew I'd give you just the opportunity, just a little bit. So I'm getting kind of a clear understanding of you and how very career focused you are, and you've been doing the beverage directing piece for, you saying, just about over a year, a very prominent position with the USBG and all of this. So can you tell me, how did you walk away from the Glenfiddich thing? Because you did take a position, didn't you? Or are you still doing it?
Still doing it.
Okay, cool. Because it's with what I consider real brilliant reconnaissance on Facebook research. You don't list it anymore. So how is that going?
It's going great. It's the position that I have is pretty, I don't say loosely structured, but they allow me to do it around my already super busy work week.
Yeah.
So for them, I represent just San Antonio accounts.
Got it.
And I don't have a set schedule for that. It's not like this day I have to be here, or this day is a staff training every Wednesday, or I get to knock it out on my own.
Yeah. Are you working for Glenfiddich directly, or is Fiddich or Fiddick? Hard K?
Glenfiddich.
Fiddick, that's what. Okay. So are you working with William Grant & Sons directly, or kind of through the distillery directly?
It's with William Grant has a marketing team.
Yeah.
That I technically work for.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So I work with them, who works with William Grant.
Got it. It's a great group over there. I try to give them as many props as possible because I've interviewed so many people from that roster, and I just love hanging out with those guys.
I love William Grant. I've been a big fan of them since before I ever worked for them.
Yeah.
And I've been offered a few brand positions, and I turned most of them down because it's not something I can fully get behind.
Right.
But with William Grant, I don't have a single bad thing to say about him.
Yeah, you got flexibility and all of that. And I mean, do you see yourself transitioning into that larger? I mean, it sounds like you got a good gig doing beverage directing and stuff, but obviously if you could just like travel the world talking about whiskey as you smirk, right?
Yeah.
Who the fuck would want to do that, you know?
I think it's a great thing for someone to do for a couple years.
Yeah.
There's not really a large lifespan for a brand ambassador.
That's a good point, yeah.
I mean, a few people have done it for a long time.
Yeah.
But most people are doing it for, a year to 3 years, and it's horrible for your body.
Yeah.
To travel every day, to drink every day.
Yeah.
What they told us, and the smartest piece of advice I heard while we did the training for that position I'm doing now, is that you just have to order it. You don't have to finish it.
Yeah, that's a great technique.
And I was like, oh, shit. Yeah, that makes sense.
So you know what?
I would have drank every dram of scotch if someone had not told me not to drink.
It's okay to not drink
Yeah.
it. But this actually, I'm going to start a firm now that we are the Suckerfish. So we tour with you guys, and all the stuff you don't drink, we drink. And then it's kind of like under the table
You guys are
that
gonna
we
be
get paid.
great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a great job, and we don't have to advertise it or anything. It's brilliant. But the reason that you're in Austin this time is there was the Real McCoy rum competition. Where was that at? Was that Lake Travis? I can't remember.
Rusty Rudder was the place. I hadn't been before.
I've not been there, yeah.
It was a great spot. We were there, right on the lake.
Yeah.
Beautiful, nice little thing.
And it was a tiki competition, I suspect?
Not necessarily tiki.
Okay.
It was just so they had started a 3-month competition. Each month was a round. The first round was a old-fashioned variation with the Real McCoy rum. They have a 3-year, a 5-year, a 12-year.
Okay.
All from the Foursquare Distillery in Barbados.
Oh, it is from Foursquare. I didn't know that. Okay, cool.
And then the second round was like a daiquiri variation. And then the third was do whatever you want.
Cool.
Just use Real McCoy rum.
Make it simple, make it clean, and then now...
And then they took each city in Texas, or the major markets, Houston, Dallas, Austin, San Antonio.
Yeah.
Had one winner from each that competed.
Yeah.
And they would compete amongst themselves first, and then the winner of each city compete in the final round.
Interesting. So I hear that you guys won.
San Antonio won.
Sorry, you guys
Vanessa,
generally.
My girlfriend Vanessa took home the grand prize.
So actually, she's outshining you now. Her career is much brighter than yours.
Yeah, I always told her she would be my sugar mom eventually.
See, I knew it. I was like, yeah, it's a sugar mama thing. I'm pretty sure. That's,
Women are the better bartenders, so I'm just going to ride her coattails.
That's good. Man, I don't know. There is something about women that make cocktails, or rather the cocktails that
they have
women
better
make.
palates.
They do. And it's somehow more connect with it more. I don't know why that is. First experience at Death & Co., I was like, shit, this is changing my whole perspective on how soft a cocktail can be, but still as intense.
Yeah.
Well, so Vanessa wins this. Was it a Mai Tai variation? Is that what it was?
Kind of. Her first drink that she won the San Antonio round with was called Getting Figgy with It.
Sure.
And it was the Real McCoy rum with some lemon juice, a fig syrup that she made.
Yeah.
And then the garbanzo bean juice instead of egg white to kind of create that sour.
So the garbanzo, all right, this is obviously going to spawn a lot of questions, but it sounds incredibly intriguing. How did it turn out?
It was great.
Yeah.
I mean, she won, so it was really good.
Well, it's true.
It looked beautiful. She had a nice presentation. The other competitors, Miles, who was competing, who used to be in Austin, he actually walked off the stage and was like, Vanessa just won.
Oh.
Before they'd announced it. He already knew. That's
incredible. So what's that mean now? Is there a trip is it a Barbados trip or something?
Yeah, it's so the guys who won each city, they get a trip to Barbados.
Killer.
And then the deal was the captain, who I was captain for San Antonio, if your city wins, then you get to go with them as well.
It really sounds like a good gig for you.
It was pretty easy.
You come into Austin to be assured that you get to take a trip to Barbados with the woman you love. Shit.
Yeah, it worked out pretty well for us.
It's not so bad. Well, I'm going to let you go because you've got to obviously get back to San Antonio and work at all the 5 concepts. When are you heading to Barbados?
I think they told us beginning of September.
That's amazing.
I think so. I've never been, so
I've not either.
All for it. And I'm so stoked to check out Foursquare.
Yeah, it makes some amazing products. And they just had the new Foursquare Rum 12-year, I think, that dropped, that John Garrett just got, I think, like last week or so.
I saw a picture of it,
You saw a picture, yeah. It's making me thirsty. This whole thing is making me thirsty.
Fingers crossed I get to try it.
I'm sure you will. I'm sure Daniels will be out there to help you out and whatnot. So, well, Stephan, it's been brilliant chatting, man. And I suspect that this would be not the last time I hear about you or from you. And maybe
hopefully in a good way.
I don't know. Either way is good. I mean, it'd be nice if your mom and your stepdad could like defend you in court. Like, wouldn't that come all full circle? It's like,
That would be
well,
great,
he might have
actually.
killed the guy in Barbados. We don't know. It all comes
If you
back.
can't prove it, you got to let him go.
That's a good point. Thanks, mate. Drive safe.
Appreciate you, bud.
Well, there we have it. What do you guys think? The beverage director for the Boulevardier Group in San Antonio in Texas, Stephan Mendez, soon to be voyaging to the lovely Barbados on behalf of Real McCoy rum. I still haven't had a chance to sip this stuff, but the cocktails he's talking about certainly sound delicious. This is just the kind of first phase, I think, of Stephan's larger reign in this industry, and we'll have to see what happens here in the next few years. I'm really excited to see how it all comes to be. So thanks everybody for listening to Show to V with Mike G. No matter what movie from 2006 you're considering watching next, or which new Netflix original series you'd like to binge on, please keep dancing.